Hello everyone, I welcome you all to my channel Revealing Concepts. In today's class, we would be learning the nature of roots of a quadratic equation. Now, in order to know the nature of roots of a quadratic equation, we also need to know what is the formula method for finding the roots of a quadratic equation. Then we would be using this method, or basically using the formula that has been given in your book to calculate the roots of the quadratic equation. We would be understanding the nature of roots of the equation, and then we would be solving few problems based on the concept. Now here we all know that a quadratic equation of order 2 is of the form ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0, where of course the coefficient of x square, that is a, is supposed to be not equal to 0. Now, in order to find the roots of this quadratic equation, we have already learned the factorization method, where we actually split the middle term and we divide or we rewrite the given equations into two linear factors and then get the values for the roots of the quadratic equation. Likewise, there is one more method, which is the formula method, wherein we directly have a formula which is x equals to minus b plus and minus under root of b square minus 4ac upon 2a. Now this, when you try to substitute the values for a, b and c in this particular formula, you get two values, and those two values would be the roots for the quadratic equation. So that is why called as the quadratic formula to get the values of the roots of a quadratic equation. So this is a pretty straightforward and easy approach to get the roots of a quadratic equation. Why that is so? Because we directly just have to substitute the values for a, b and c by comparing it with the standard form and thereby substituting it over here. Now, here if you see in this formula, we have a term b square minus 4ac, and this term has importance, or we can say the main purpose of this term is to actually determine the nature of the roots of the quadratic equation, and that is why this term b square minus 4ac is called as the discriminant, and it is denoted by the symbol delta, that is a small triangle. Now, as I told you, the use of this value, or the purpose of discriminant, or the importance of calculating the value for the discriminant, which is b square minus 4ac, is that it helps you to get the nature of the roots of quadratic equation. Now, what do I mean by nature of the roots of a quadratic equation? So, nature basically talks about the properties of the roots that we get. So, depending upon what is the value, we have three different types of roots that exists. For example, so what we get is, if the value of b square minus 4ac is positive, the value for b square minus 4ac can be negative, or it can be equal to 0. These are the three possible situations that can occur. Either the resultant value, when you substitute a, b and c, you can get it as a positive number, you can get a negative number as well, or it can be equal to 0 also. So if the value for the discriminant is positive, right, so it is not negative also and it is not 0 also, it's a positive number, then in this case the roots, or the nature of the roots, is real and they are not equal. Similarly, when the roots, or when the value for the discriminant b square minus 4ac is equal to 0, again in this case the roots would be real, but this time they would be equal also. So whenever the value for discriminant is positive, the roots are real and they are not equal. That is, you would get two distinct roots which are positive, and whenever the value for the discriminant is equal to 0, again the roots would be a real number, but in that case both these roots would be positive. Now, again here if you see, in the case where your b square minus 4ac is less than 0, where the discriminant is a negative number, in that case the values would not be real, so the roots would not be real, and that is why you wouldn't get roots for these types of equations. So whenever the value for the discriminant is less than 0, meaning it is a negative number, it means कि रूट के अंदर वाला टर्म इज आर डिस्क्रिमिनेंट बी स्क्वायर माइनस 4ac. अगर बी स्क्वायर माइनस 4ac का वैल्यू लेट्स से -2 आ गया, राइट, सो वी गेट समथिंग ऑफ दिस फॉर्म अंडर रूट ऑफ -2, एंड the numbers of this form where you have a negative number inside the square root, these are basically imaginary numbers or they are unreal numbers, and we haven't dealt with such numbers as of now. You will of course learn about them in your higher standards, but as of now we are not we are not aware of such types of numbers. So in that case, whenever the value for the discriminant is less than 0, the roots are not real, and hence you can conclude that the given quadratic equation का solution doesn't exist. Now how are you going to remember these three relations? So for that there is a small trick. This has got no logic, but just for the sake of remembering these three properties we can remember it कि अभी देखो यहाँ पे if you see the discriminant of b, if the discriminant is greater than 0, मतलब b square minus 4ac का वैल्यू अगर 0 से बड़ा है means it is positive. तो उस केस में सो इफ अ पर्सन इज पॉजिटिव इट मीन्स दैट द पर्सन इज रियल. ओके, और यहाँ पे इक्वल टू है क्या? नहीं, दिस इज एन इनइक्वालिटी. वी ऑल नो कि अगर ग्रेटर देन या लेस देन ऐसा कुछ आता है देन दीज आर बेसिकली इनइक्वालिटीज दैट आर देयर. सो इफ अ पर्सन इज पॉजिटिव देन द पर्सन इज रियल. ओके, तो रूट्स पॉजिटिव है तो अगर डिस्क्रिमिनेंट का वैल्यू पॉजिटिव है तो रूट्स पॉजिटिव है, और यहाँ पे इनइक्वालिटी है सो रूट्स आर नॉट इक्वल. नाउ लेट अस मूव ऑन टू द जीरो वाला पार्ट. जब भी डिस्क्रिमिनेंट का वैल्यू 0 आता है, अभी 0 भी बुरा नहीं है. लेट अस से कि 0 मींस द पर्सन इज न्यूट्रल, द पर्सन इज नीदर पॉजिटिव, द पर्सन इज नॉट नेगेटिव. सो इफ द पर्सन इज न्यूट्रल अगेन द पर्सन इज रियल. ओके, सो अगेन हियर इफ यू सी रियल, और यहाँ पे अभी इक्वल टू साइन है, दैट इज व्हाई द रूट्स वुड बी equal. So whenever the discriminant का value is positive, पॉजिटिव पर्सन रियल होता है, लेकिन इनइक्वालिटी है तो रूट्स आर नॉट इक्वल. बट इफ द डिस्क्रिमिनेंट का वैल्यू इज इक्वल टू 0, तो कोई भी न्यूट्रल पर्सन भी रियल होता है लेकिन अभी इक्वल टू 0 है, दैट इज व्हाई द रूट्स आर इक्वल. एंड ऑफ कोर्स व्हेनेवर द डिस्क्रिमिनेंट इज लेस देन 0, नेगेटिव है, तो कोई भी नेगेटिव पर्सन वी विल से दैट द पर्सन इज नॉट रियल, एंड दैट इज व्हाई वी कैन से कि जब भी b square minus 4ac is less than 0 then the roots are not real, and that is why we don't get roots for that particular quadratic equation. Now here the question says that find the nature of the roots of the following quadratic equations. If the real root exists, find them. See, you are first supposed to find the nature, मतलब इन तीनों में से कौन सा situation exist करता है, and after that you are supposed to, the question is कि अगर real roots exist करते हैं, meaning if either the first or the third scenario takes place, then you're supposed to use this formula and get the values for the roots of the quadratic equation. Now in order to first determine the nature of the roots, what we are going to do is we are going to calculate the value of the discriminant. We all know that delta equals to b square minus 4ac. Now here if you see, let us first write comparing with ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0, we get the value of a as 2, we get the value of b. Now be careful, this is an equation जहाँ पे सारे signs positive है, so you have to consider the coefficients along with their signs. So here the value of b in this case is -3 and the value of c is 5. Now let us use these values to first find the nature of the roots. अगर real होंगे तो हम लोग roots find out करेंगे, अगर नहीं होंगे तो we will stop our solution there itself. So delta in that case would be b square minus 4ac. Now let us substitute, so we will get -3 the whole square minus 4 into a in this case is 2 and c in this case is 5. Now 3 ka square is 9, minus 3 ka square is also 9, and we all know that 4 into 2 is 8 and 8 into 5 is 40. Now here if you see 9 minus 40 is of course minus 31, Now this here if you see ये b square minus 4ac है and this is less than 0, ये नेगेटिव है, तो अगर ये नेगेटिव है कोई भी नेगेटिव पर्सन रियल होता है नहीं, एंड अगर नेगेटिव पर्सन रियल नहीं होता इसका मतलब that the roots of this quadratic equations are also not real. So therefore the roots of the quadratic equation are not real. Hence, no real roots exist. Now, since the no real root exists, that is why हम लोग roots find भी नहीं करेंगे. Now, let us solve the second problem. The question is written over here. So, let us start solving the problem. The second question says that 3x square minus 4 root 3x plus 4 equals to 0. Again, you are going to compare with the standard form. So, comparing with the standard form, which is ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0. What do we get? We get a as 3, again b would be minus 4 root 3 and c would be 4. Now the value for the determinant is b square minus 4ac. जहाँ पे भी b है हम लोग minus 4 root 3 का square minus 4 into a into c. Now, again this is a negative number but square of any negative number is positive. 4 का square would be 16 and root and square gets cancelled, so 16 into 3. Similarly, here if you see 4 into 3 is 12 and 12 into 4 is 48. So we get 48. Again 16 into 3 is 48 minus 48. So that is equal to 0. So here what we get is we get b square minus 4ac equal to 0. Now this is which scenario? This is the third case जहाँ पे b square minus 4ac 0 है. मतलब अभी discriminant का value जो है that's a neutral value and any neutral person is also real. But now here minded you have an equality sign, and since there is equal to sign, that is why the roots of the given quadratic equation are real and they are equal. So we can say that therefore the roots of the quadratic equation, you are supposed to write full form in your exam, are real and equal. Now if they are real, then you have to find them. So how are you going to calculate the roots? So we can say we know that x is equals to minus b plus and minus under root of b square minus 4ac upon 2a. Now minus b. So let us first substitute the value for b over here. So that is minus 4 root 3. Now we already know that b square minus 4ac is 0. We don't have to again substitute. We can just pick it up from here. So we know that that's 0, and then basically this term entirely would get wipe off because it's 0 only. So for your understanding, I'll just write 0. 2 multiplied by what is a? A is 3, right? So what we get is 4 root 3 upon 2 into 3. Now 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4, and we all can write 3 as root 3 into root 3. So one root 3 gets cancelled, the other root 3 gets cancelled, and that is why we get 2 upon root 3. Now you might say that this is a quadratic equation and how do you get just one root? That is where the answer lies, that since we get discriminant ka value is equal to 0, therefore the roots are real and equal, and that is why both the roots would be 2 upon root 3. So this is where your problem number 2 ends. Now let us move on to problem number 3. Now problem number 3 is 2 2x square minus 6x plus 3 equals to 0. Again we are going to compare it with the standard form, which is ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0. यहाँ पे वापस जब हम कंपेयर करेंगे तो b की वैल्यू -6 and c की वैल्यू 3. Again we are going to follow the same process. We are going to write that discriminant is b square minus 4ac. Now instead of b you are going to put -6 the whole square minus 4 into 2 into 3. This is just substituting the values. This is like the most scoring problems in the exam. So I hope you wouldn't skip it ever. 6 का square is 36. नेगेटिव नंबर है लेकिन स्क्वायर है तो पॉजिटिव ही आंसर आएगा. Then 4 2s are 8 and 8 3s are 24. So we get the answer as 36 minus 24, and we all know that 36 minus 24 is 12.